Welcome to this presentation on type 2 diabetes and nutrition. My name is Dr. Andrea Fuller and I'm a dietitian and a lecturer at University of Southern Queensland. And today I'm going to give you a brief overview of diabetes and then cover nutrition recommendations and tips for preventing or managing type 2 diabetes. So diabetes, or to use the scientific name, diabetes mellitus, is a condition where the pancreas either cannot produce enough insulin or where the body does not respond to insulin as it should. So why is insulin so important? Well, when we eat food containing carbohydrate, enzymes break down that carbohydrate into glucose, which is then absorbed into the bloodstream. As glucose enters the bloodstream, blood sugar levels rise. The pancreas senses this increase and releases the hormone insulin. Insulin acts like a key, allowing glucose to enter the body's cells where it is used for energy or stored for later use. When the body is functioning as it should, cells respond to insulin efficiently. Glucose is absorbed and the blood sugar levels return to normal. Over time, excessive carbohydrate consumption and other factors, including genetics, can lead to insulin resistance. This is when cells no longer respond to insulin as they should. The pancreas produces more insulin to try and compensate. Despite increased insulin levels, glucose uptake by cells remains inadequate, leading to persistently high blood sugar levels, and this can eventually lead to type 2 diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes develops primarily due to a combination of genetics and lifestyle factors, such as being overweight, lack of exercise, and poor diet. As I said in the previous slide, the body isn't able to utilize insulin as effectively as it should, and this puts pressure on the pancreas, which can actually eventually wear out and stop producing enough insulin to keep blood sugar levels at a healthy level. Gestational diabetes can be considered a subcategory to type 2, but it only occurs during pregnancy and resolves once the baby is born. A person who has had gestational diabetes during pregnancy should approach their diet and physical activity habits as if they had pre-diabetes to reduce the risk of diabetes later in life. And type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition where the body attacks the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas so that the body is not able to produce insulin at all. This is not related to lifestyle factors. Now, because the risk of type 2 diabetes is primarily related to lifestyle, there are ways to reduce the risk of getting diabetes. These recommendations are also vital for anyone who already has type 2 diabetes. The factors on this slide are key to managing the condition and reducing the risk of associated issues such as nerve and kidney damage, eye diseases, or increased risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, and dementia. Now, I'm going to be talking specifically about making healthy food choices in this presentation. But before I do, let's debunk a few myths around type 2 diabetes. Now, a common myth I'm sure you've all heard about is that excessive sugar is the primary cause of diabetes. But sugar itself is not the culprit. The issue is that excessive sugar in food, fruit juice, soft drinks, etc., is a key factor in weight gain. But excessive energy intake from any source can do that. The reason why sugar or carbohydrate in general gets such a bad rap is because very high amounts of simple sugars put that pressure on the pancreas to keep producing insulin to deal with the sugar in the blood. The next myth is that if you have type 2 diabetes, it will get worse over time until you need to eventually take insulin. However, the good news is that you have a very high chance of that not happening if you are able to manage your diabetes through food and physical activity. Another myth is around overweight. Now, while being overweight is a key risk factor, it isn't always the case that the person with type 2 diabetes is overweight. Other risk factors play a part. And finally, the myth of the diabetes diet. There is no special diet for type 2 diabetes, particularly for those not taking insulin. So instead, we talk about a healthy diet or a healthy eating plan, and that's basically the Australian Dietary Guidelines. Now, these guidelines, in a nutshell, advise eating a wide variety of foods across the 5 food groups and limiting foods that have high amounts of added sugar, salt, and saturated fat. You should also include healthy fats such as olive oil in your diet and keep fully hydrated, primarily with water. So rather than talk about these guidelines specifically, I want to provide you with some tips on applying the guidelines in practice. A key goal to try and meet is including the 3 macronutrients in every meal. So carbohydrate, protein, and fat in every meal. Now, there's a number of reasons why this is a good idea, but the key reason is that both protein and fat help keep you feel full for longer and also slow the digestion and absorption of carbohydrate. On the other hand, eating carbohydrate by itself, even high fiber choices, will increase blood sugar more quickly and make it more difficult to keep it stable over time. Now, when choosing carbohydrate foods, try to prioritise high fiber choices and minimize those simple sugars that you find in juices, soft drinks, and cakes. Now, fruit is fine and does contain fiber, but limit it to 2 pieces a day and avoid eating fruit by itself because of its immediate effect on blood sugar. With protein, the key is variety and making sure you choose lean varieties or cut off the fat around the meat or chicken before you cook it. Consider plant-based varieties as well. They will also contain fiber. Legumes are fabulous, and I'll come back to those in a moment. And then fats. So there are lots of options for healthy fats. Plant-based oils and margarine, especially olive oil, are good options, but also canola oil, sunflower oil, and peanut oil. But coconut oil is not a healthy choice, despite what social media may tell you. And don't forget about nuts, seeds, olives, and avocado. And of course, fatty fish. And they have the added bonus of omega-3 fats that are so important for brain and cardiovascular health. Another really important point I want to make that helps with both diabetes and weight management is to eat across the whole day. Don't skip meals. And that includes breakfast. Eating across the day keeps blood sugar more stable, and it means you avoid getting too hungry. And getting hungry not only messes with the body's hunger and satiety hormones, it can mean you make poor food choices. I've listed some suggestions for what to include in your meals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with the goal to include carbohydrate, protein, and fat at every meal. Now, eating across the day and avoiding getting too hungry often means including snacks will be a good idea. This advice is particularly relevant if you are aiming for smaller meals at lunch and dinner. Here are some snack ideas, but I encourage you to make your own list of what you like and to have them on hand so you are less likely to grab convenient processed foods that are high in added sugar, salt, and saturated fat. Now I want to focus on legumes because they are such an underrated food, but they're packed with fiber, protein, and several vitamins and minerals. They're also really budget friendly and can help extend meat-based meals even if you don't want to go fully vegetarian. The high fiber helps regulate blood sugar, and the soluble fiber specifically binds to cholesterol and helps eliminate that LDL or bad cholesterol from the body. Legumes also contain potassium and magnesium, which help to regulate blood pressure. Finally, a few more ideas to help with the recommendations I've just talked about. So eat your meals at the same time each day as much as possible. This helps your hunger and satiety hormones and your metabolism to work more effectively. As I've already mentioned, you may find it works better for you to have smaller meals and include snacks in between. That regular intake of potentially smaller amounts of carbohydrate can help in keeping blood sugar glucose stable. Avoid skipping meals. Now, this is a key piece of advice for anyone. Skipping meals regularly not only compromises diabetes management, but can slow your metabolism, making it harder to maintain a healthy weight. Keep fully hydrated. Again, important for a number of reasons, but in this case, we want to keep blood volume at an optimum level. Now, a person with diabetes is often advised to reduce their weight. Weight loss and maintaining a healthy weight is a really important part of preventing or managing diabetes. And one strategy that doesn't involve a massive dietary change is to reduce portion sizes of the food we eat. And finally, take some time to plan your meals and snacks. Perhaps designate a time each week to cook some meals that can be frozen, or make zucchini slice or sweet potato muffins that can be frozen in portions and be available as a convenient snack. Now, I hope you found this presentation useful. If you have any questions about nutrition in general or nutrition and diabetes specifically, please feel free to email me. Thank you.